sometimes all it takes is for one person to or one appeal to highlight a topic for everyone to start talking about it. And I think that, you know, that's what we need to do more of. So
get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Well, really looking forward to catching up with our next guest on the show. It's Mackenzie Aspel, a community fundraiser at Oxfordshire Mind, and she's going to be talking about the No More Silent Nights campaign, which is incredibly important and is running now. Morning, Mackenzie. Thanks so much for joining us.
Morning, Rich. No worries. Thank you for having me on.
Just dive in and just to explain the No More Silent Nights campaign for us.
Yeah, so part of my role at Oxfordshire Mind is I work in the development team, which is fundraising and income generation, and part of that is appeals. So I was tasked with setting the appeal for this year, sort of way back in January, and for me, it was an obvious choice, no more silent nights, and to focus on men's mental health and male suicide. One of the big reasons for me was that another area I look after is in memory donations and in memory supporters. And I've worked at quite a few local charities in Oxfordshire over the years. And I was really shocked with the amount of in memory supporters that Oxfordshire Mind have. It was something that I didn't really expect going into the role. I don't know. I mean, you would expect it with, you know, like a hospice charity probably, but it really shocked me. And my first week I went to an in memory golf day for a young man who sadly took his own life. And I was speaking with his parents and his family, and it was so moving. And then these events just kept happening throughout my calendar year. And every time I spoke to sort of family and friends of people who had lost someone, it kind of became almost normal for me that this was just happening so much. But when I spoke to them, it was something obviously that they'd not experienced before, but they didn't have anyone in their circle. They didn't think they had anyone in their circle that had experienced it before. And I was just thinking, gosh, if we could connect these people and these experiences more, and the more you talk about it, the more you find that you know someone, or you know a friend of a friend who has someone who's taken their own life. And it's shocking how prolific it is. And so I thought, gosh, I want to highlight this. I want to do something about it. And that's kind of where the appeal was born, I suppose, the idea of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I myself have lived experience of losing loved ones. So I never met my grandfather. He died about a few weeks before I was born. He took his own life. The impact that must have had on my dad, his son, would have been huge. And I'm sure that that's probably gone on to impact, you know, his life. And then when I was 14, my uncle sadly took his own life, and that was like life shattering for me. I just couldn't get my head around it, and it massively shaped my whole youth, my whole teenage years and my early 20s, because I just could not get my head around that person, like my fun, really bubbly, does pranks on my dad, really kind of just fun to be around, full of life uncle took his own life. I think I was quite sheltered from it. My parents kind of hid me from any of the mental health problems that he was having. So for me, it was just kind of came out of nowhere. But actually, the more that I've learned about suicide and depression, when I've worked in mental health charities, the more I've learned that it's actually so much more common that you wouldn't expect. It's sort of like a hidden depression, if you like, or a hidden silence, again, with the No More Silent Night, and you just don't expect it. And then almost exactly 10 years later, one of my really, really close friends took his own life. And that was awful when I was about 24, because it was a sort of sense of, I've let it happen again kind of thing, which I know was obviously completely an invalid, you know, not factual, but feelings aren't facts, you know. And so that's what it made me feel. And it was just awful. And actually this process of working with in memory supporters and supporting people who are fundraising in loved ones' memories has been so wonderful, and it's the best part of my job, I think. And I love doing it, and it's so kind of healing. And to watch people create something and make something amazing out of their loved one's memory is just a beautiful thing. And to help them on that journey, I really love doing. And everyone I speak to, and I know you're going to be speaking to a lot of people, they all say the same thing. They all say, if the money I raise could help just one family or one person not have to go through this, then it's all worthwhile. And it's so funny that everyone says the same thing. Everyone says the same thing. And so for me, it was kind of a no-brainer why we were going to focus on this year. But we did do, I holded focus groups with our experts by experience volunteers at Oxfordshire Mind. So they're people with lived past or living experience of mental health problems. And, it was kind of unanimous. Everyone was happy that we were focusing on this and talking about it in a big way. And what's been wonderful for me is just watching it snowball. So every time I've said to someone, this is what I'm doing this year, in networking groups and everything, with the appeal, people have just jumped on it. People have gone, yes, we're so glad you're doing it. So, I was at the Westgate in March, and I mentioned it to the guys there, and they were like, yes, we want to support. And so that, you might see some of our adverts up on the Westgate, and yourselves Get Radio, yes, we want to support. And it just happened like a snowball effect. And then the Oxford Round Table, amazing match funding, like that's so incredible. And it just proved to me that I chose the right thing to talk about, and it's so important. And actually, sometimes all it takes is for one person to, or one appeal to highlight a topic for everyone to start talking about it. And I think that that's what we need to do more of. So yeah.
No, for sure. It's quite funny when you I've just been sort of listening, and you speak so wonderfully about every facet of this, and listening to that, it was a roller coaster of the tragic things that have happened that shouldn't happen, that you don't want to happen, and the ability to offer support and help for people that need it. And like you said, there are a lot more people than you think that need it. But having that joy at the end, it's a real roller coaster listening to that. And I'm sure people have been on that listening as well. So it's an amazing appeal. And we're so thrilled to be behind it. And some of the facts and some of the things that we're going to be sort of learning about with this appeal are quite shocking. And that is the point of this. But I'm sure people are listening now. How can people help out? How can people help? What can they do?
Well, I guess the obvious thing with an appeal is that people can donate. That would be a huge, huge help. We are doing amazing work at Oxfordshire Mind at the moment with our wellbeing teams, our hubs, our safe haven services, our information line, which anyone can call and is free for advice. We're already doing amazing work, and we know what needs to be done, and we're doing a good job of it. We just need to reach more people. That's the bottom line. We need to go out and reach the people who aren't coming to us, because they're the people that we worry about. The people who ring and get our support, they're proactively, helping themselves, and that's wonderful. But what about the silent people? What about the people who aren't talking? Well, 1 in 8 adults with a mental health problem in the UK are getting treatment right now. So that's the majority aren't, and they're the people we need to reach. In particular, a huge group of that people is men. So we just need kind of support really with funding to be able to go out there and do more of what we're doing and reach more people and be proactively trying to get people to come to us and to know that we're there.
Yeah, it's so important. You speak so passionately and so personally about it that I'm sure that has resonated with everyone listening this morning. Mackenzie, thank you so much for speaking about every facet of that. It's an amazing thing that you're kind of behind and doing, and we are so proud to be part of it, and to raising just a little bit more awareness and getting in front of a few more eyes and a few more ears. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.